So that's actually a really funny story. So at the time, our name was actually Deathwish. That was the name of my previous band, who had folded by that point. And before we came up with the name Lycanthro, we were still called Deathwish for the first few months or so. And I was in college at the time, and I walked into the local record store near where I live, and I was flipping through the metal section, and I find this album by a British band that was called At the Edge of Damnation, and the name of that band was... So naturally I bought it, and I had to call up the guys and say, hey, you know, I found this in an Ottawa record store. We can't be called this anymore, we have to change the name. So we came up with a bunch of different ideas, and I knew I wanted to have it to have something to do with wolves or werewolves, because I've always had a big affinity for those. And we came up with a bunch of different ideas, and eventually I found the name Lycanthro, and I found that there was already like a couple bands that were called that. So I thought, would it be cool if I took the PE off the end, Lycanthro? Yeah, that has a really nice ring to it. So that's kind of how the name came to be. Well, it's our first full-length album. There's 8 tracks on it. It was recorded at Wolf Lake Studios, and it was mixed by Juno Award-nominated mixer and my old professor from music school, Jason Jack Nunes, and it was mastered by Jack Costo, who you might know from the band Seven Spires. So the lyrics on this album actually come from a myriad of different places. Most notably is from different parts of media, like books, movies, video games, and even some anime. Like, for example, our track Evangelion is based off the show Neon Genesis Evangelion. The title track and also Ride the Dragon are based on the game Skyrim. And aside from that, there's also some tracks like Enchantress, where I try and tell, you know, my own kind of epic story within the scope of the song. And there's also a few other songs that are based off some classic literature, like The Crucible and Hunchback of Notre Dame, which those songs are Crucible and Fallen Angel's Prayer. Yeah, so Alone Records actually approached us back when we released our Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse EP. And it was very unexpected for us because we were actually getting ready at the time to start pitching it to labels to see who would release it. And they actually came to us, and we were really surprised by that. And we took a look at the contract, and we gave it to some people we knew from the industry and some legal people. And for the position that we were in at the time, it was the best deal we could have gotten. No money exchanged, nothing. And they've all been really good to us, and we've really enjoyed working with them. So, yeah. Having a label deal can help, because they can help you out in certain aspects that maybe you wouldn't be able to do yourself. Like, they can potentially book you tours through different avenues and contacts that you might not have yourself. Or on the flip side, they could also save you a lot of money on certain things like merch printing and CD printing, all of which are things that, you know, a lot of people can have difficulty with financially. So yeah, having a label deal is a very good thing, and I think that bands should at least seek it out, because I feel like there's a lot of benefit to it. Yes, we were actually supposed to go on our very first tour back in April in 2020. We got booked on our very first festival, which was the Hyperspace Metal Festival in Vancouver, BC. And I spent 3 months booking a tour. It was going to be 2.5 weeks, all across Canada, from Ottawa to Vancouver and back. And I think we had like 16 or 17 shows booked, and unfortunately that all got cancelled due to COVID. The most common thing that has happened to me personally is my old wireless falling off. That actually happened most shows, and it was very irritating because my old wireless was a clip-on, and I would usually clip it onto my guitar strap, and the clip was really bad, and it would almost always fall off. Like, I actually remember one show, it fell off twice in the course of one song, to the point where I actually put my guitar down just to save myself the embarrassment and just finish the song off vocally before the next song going to pick it up and to fix it. The first one I always go to is Seven Spires. Seven Spires are a symphonic metal band based out of Boston, Massachusetts, and they're definitely one of the best bands going in metal today, in my opinion. They do so many interesting things I've never heard other bands do. Like, they'll mix genres, and it won't sound forced or cheesy. They always make it work. Like, for example, they have this one tune called The Cabaret of Dreams, which it literally mixes power metal, black metal, and swing music all in the same song, and it doesn't get old, it doesn't feel forced, and it takes a lot of talent to pull something like that off, and that's why I appreciate their music a lot. And also, the other one I can think of off the top of my head is Arion from Finland. Those guys are incredible. They're symphonic power metal, but they always have a little tinge of Euro pop to them, and I find that's a really welcome combination, and it fits really well. And those guys are great songwriters. They can write songs that will be stuck in your head for months. So yeah, I guess my two favorite newer bands I'd recommend to people are Seven Spires and Arion. That's a really good question. So obviously right now we're in the situation where we don't know what's going to happen, but the way I see it is that personally I think that when live music does come back, I think it's going to see a huge boom period. Like, everybody's been going to shows. Shows are going to be sold out left, right, and center. Even people who were kind of jaded from concerts and stopped going, I think this is what's going to draw them back in. So I have a very optimistic view about the whole thing. I think that once they do come back, it'll be a really great period for concerts and a really great period for music. But yeah, here in Ottawa, the metal scene is really, really tight-knit. Like, even though all the bands aren't the same subgenres per se, we're all good friends and we all support each other's music. And Ottawa has a lot of great bands, a lot of really underrated bands as well that I feel should have some more recognition, like some bands like Infrared, Euphelion, Scepter, Sinful Ways. These are all bands that, you know, are all very well known in the Ottawa scene, and I feel like once more people get to listen to them, then they'll appreciate how great they actually are. And as I said, all of us are buddies, we're all friends, there's no rivalries, there's no egos, there's no drama, just a bunch of people who love metal. Very soon we're going to be going to the studio to record some new material that will hopefully be coming out in 2022. And as soon as we can, we'll be going back on the road, back on tour. We're still booked at the Hyperspace Festival in Vancouver. So once the green light happens for that, we're definitely going to be going back on the road and back to a city near you. Well, anyways, thanks Antichrist magazine for having me. Stay metal, my friends.